And welcome back to Friday Briefing. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's time for our guest anchor segment. And before he reads the news, Ouma Oluga, who is our guest anchor, will have a chit-chat with him. He is the National Secretary General of the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Betty. Thank
Interesting.
you for inviting me.
Karibu sana.
Yes.
Interesting last couple of 3 months you've had.
Yeah. Quite, I think quite interesting indeed, yeah. But also quite exhausting.
Exhausting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we'll get to that shortly. But I
Yes.
want us to start from where it all started. I've seen a number of people asking, first of all, what do you specialize in?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm doing my master's in internal medicine.
Okay.
I think I should be finishing in about
You
a
think
year.
you should be, isn't it supposed to be very clear?
Yes, of course, it's supposed to be very clear.
Okay.
But as with anything, medicine and health, sometimes it's not very clear. But yes, I'm about to finish my master's in internal medicine.
What is internal medicine?
Internal medicine is basically study to be a physician, which means that you treat diseases without
Everything.
the scalpel.
Okay.
Not really everything. So diabetes, hypertension, malaria, all the things that we can treat using medicine.
All right. So
Yes.
what can you treat right now?
Oh, yeah, I can treat everything.
You can treat everything?
Of course, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
So where did it all start? You grew up in Siaya, is that true?
I grew up in Siaya. I grew up in Rarieda, yeah, in the village, right in the village.
How
in
serious is
Okela.
the village life? Is it the uptown village? Because there are two different villages.
It's deep village life. Ni ile tunaitanga ushago kabisa.
Ushago kabisa.
Yes, ndio,
Oh,
yeah.
there you go. Look at those
Yes,
pictures.
yeah,
Where
yeah.
are you there? I can't even spot you. That's how much
I
you've
think I'm
changed.
the one being carried.
You're that small.
Yeah, I was that small.
All right.
Yeah.
And who are those
That's my mom and a friend of, I can't see my eyesight very well. Oh yeah, and those are two family friends of mine who came to visit. That was 2009.
This is what you call started from the bottom.
Yeah, I started from the bottom. This was when I was a student leader at Moi University.
You look
I
a bit
think,
timid though. Not
I was
like now.
I was timid then.
You were timid, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But you're still a
By
student
the
leader.
the guys right beside me is now the current Minister of Health for Nigeria,
Okay.
Professor Deole.
You have to
And
say that.
I had to say that.
But
I
do
met
you
it,
say?
you know.
And then who's there? I can see you there
This
in a
was
very
in
interesting
Sudan. This was
T-shirt.
Sudan.
Okay.
With his two sons. He was the Army General then. He was hosting me. I had visited there in 2010. This was Prof. Nyong'o, and he was the Minister for Health. I was a student leader.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. What's happening there?
Wow.
Fishing?
What's happening here? Just somewhere around the lake, Kisumu. I can't remember when very well. That's my graduation.
That's your
photo.
graduation. That one you
Yes.
can remember vividly.
This I can remember vividly. 2010 December.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So you say that you, oh, and there, was that the
And,
first time you
this
wore a
was
scrub?
Kijabe. No, this was mid 6 months after I became a doctor.
You're
This
really
is-
smiling
This
there.
is Kijabe Mission Hospital. This was one of the conferences we had organized as a student leader. So that was our committee plus the dean.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at that one, Maranda High School.
This
You are one of
Maranda High
those, eh?
School. Yeah, I'm from Maranda.
But
you
no,
know.
meanwhile,
That's
you know,
that's the school.
there's a Matiangi A,
Yeah.
which is
You know,
very different.
No. Of course, I'm not a Matiangi A. There's the Matiangi A.
There's a Matiangi A,
and
which
there's
is
the
legitimate.
pre-Matiangi A.
Yes, the pre-Matiangi A. So
And
which
then
one are
there's
you?
then there's the original A, which is the original A is
So,
the us,
so like there are three types of A's.
Yeah.
The pre-Matiangi A,
Yeah.
the original A.
A. Yes.
Okay, interesting. So you're telling us about
Yes.
the village life.
Yeah,
So
village
it was
life.
not a story of from grace to grace with you.
Yeah, it's a story of.
Did you really struggle?
humble. Yeah, of course, we struggled. We lost our dad. We were many at home. We lost our dad when we were very
How
young.
many is many?
We're 7 now.
That's not many.
Yeah, we lost our elder sister, so we were 8. That's
Okay.
many.
Okay.
Yes, and so my mom, of course, struggled to bring us up, of course, from childhood.
As a single mom.
As a single mom, yes. So, you know, the real village life, sometimes having to work on people's chambers to make sure that we feed, you know. Many times we went without food.
Really?
Yes. Real, like many times we went without food. Sometimes just a porridge.
Just porridge.
White porridge, you know, with no sugar, you know.
With no sugar.
Yes,
And at that time when you're growing up, did you really at that time aspire with the life that you were living, the environment, the situation, did you really think you'd ever be a doctor?
When I was pretty young, I think my dad had sort of, you know, sort of influenced me to be something, yeah, better than what he was. He was a teacher, primary school teacher. So he kept telling me to be, you know, to aspire to be better in life.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about then your childhood. Then you grow up, you go to Maranda High School.
Yes, yes.
Very proudly, I can see that smile you have.
Oh yeah,
And
Maranda,
then,
I'm very proud by the way. I'm a very proud alumni of Maranda.
Everybody is a proud alumni. Yeah. Everybody that I know from Maranda, they're proud. I don't think there's anybody who's disgruntled.
Yeah,
but then,
yeah.
I mean, speaking about, you know, your transition now to high school, you know, who was paying for the fees? And I can imagine, I mean, studying for medicine is not cheap.
Yeah, so we had an education trust fund, which my dad, I went to, he died 2 years before I went to high school, but apparently he had some education fund for us.
Oh, wow.
So that paid us my school fee up to Form 3, and then the fund went dry. So in Form 4, the school board, led by the principal, actually paid my school fee.
Oh, wow.
The board of Maranda paid my school fee in Form 4, and I'm very grateful to them.
Is that because maybe you're an A student and they saw some potential in you?
Yeah, the decision, of course, was made when I was the best student in what they used to call the Science Congress, which happened in Mombasa. So I was the top student in the country in that category. So when I came back, I think the school was very proud. So they wanted to alleviate my suffering with the school fees.
You're suffering with the school fees.
Yes.
And then now you get into
then I get into
medicine
university.
school.
Yeah. So yeah, medicine school I think has been the best part of my life. Yeah, lots of opportunities. Of course, medicine is not very easy. It's quite challenging, time consuming, but I think I did my best in school, participated in a lot of activities, and I think this is something I would also wish to encourage university students. Don't just sit there. There are a lot of things to do. So I was in student leadership. I participated in community projects. We used to do a lot of cervical cancer campaigns and actually vaccination. We were supported by some companies. And I also managed to travel around because of the same activities. So I think it was quite a fulfilling life in the university.
All right, and let's talk about the time that now you are an intern. Was it at Kijabe Hospital?
At Kijabe Hospital.
So how does it feel? Finally, you've been going through this hectic schedule. You know, you've gotten to where you've been with all the hardships. Then finally, you're an intern at at Kijabe Hospital, which was really one of the best hospitals. How was that feeling for you? And
you know, Kijabe is one of the busiest hospitals in this country. So you know, you come from school, and then you're immersed into a very busy hospital. But I think Kijabe taught me two things: discipline and compassion. And you know, for us, I graduated in December, and barely 3 weeks I'd already begun work in Kijabe. So and the work is so, you know, it's 6 to 6, and sometimes you'd go 36 hours without a break, without changing your clothes. But it taught me a lot because it's. I think the teamwork there is just amazing, and I think that can be replicated all over in the country. So that's where I learned. That's why I started my medicine. And I think also it makes me have the hope that that things can actually be better, because I don't think they have a lot of resources, but they do amazing work.
But they do amazing work at Kijabe. And what then is your most memorable time, you know, since you finished school, apart from the strike? Of course, that one is a landmark and historic time. But what else is most vivid to you and most memorable to you?
Many things, but I think once I performed surgery with the Mulika Mwizi.
That's, actually, you own a Mulika Mwizi?
I do.
Oh, you still do?
I do.
You're kidding me.
It's here. It's a Mulika Mwizi.
Wow.
Yes.
But you have another phone, I'm sure.
I have another phone.
So why do you still have a Mulika Mwizi again?
Because it's just like that.
I've seen on the internet right now that you know your salary is quite fat right now. I mean, why a Mulika Mwizi? Or you just like the simple things in life?
No, I am not. When it comes to phones, I'm not very fascinated.
But seriously, you have to have another phone.
I do have another phone.
Okay,
of course,
just check.
But still a simple phone.
Another kabambe.
Another kabambe.
All right. I'm sure you have like 4 then.
No.
All right. So that story, I read it and it's very interesting. So you're performing a cesarean section, which is really critical.
Yeah.
And then the lights go off.
Then the lights go off, and then So you're with, in an operation, you're with 3 people.
Yeah.
So yourself, you're the one doing the operation, and then there's the nurse who is assisting, and then there's the person who is the running to give you
handing things over.
handing things over.
Right.
Lights go off, and then you send these people, and then the generators are not coming on, and 5-6 minutes you're wondering what's going on, and then they tell you there's no fuel.
But wait, what's happening then now? I mean, so everything has just stopped.
Everything cannot just
room.
stop. Everything cannot stop. A doctor has to do something. Yeah.
But I mean, it's dark.
Yes. It's dark, so you have to use light, and sometimes that light is that's where you start using a
mulika-mwizi.
Yes.
That's where it comes in.
Yeah, that's where it comes in. So they put on the mulika-mwizi and they just shine for you the operating area, and you proceed. Yeah, this happened in 2012 actually.
Not too long ago.
Not too long ago.
So wait, and the baby and the mom, so you
fine,
delivered and the baby was okay,
the baby
came
was
out
okay.
crying, kawaida?
Yeah. Last year I think I had tweeted that I had confirmed with the baby somewhere in Vihiga. They are very fine, 4 years old now.
Oh, 4 years old.
Yes.
And apart from that, is there any, because that I mean is really one of the issues that you had with the strike.
Exactly.
Is there anything that is great that you remember or you have memory of in regards to your career so far?
I think in regards to my career, the one thing I remember most is the way my career brings the human life to explanation in terms of from emotions of love to emotions of anger to emotions of when people are weeping, So at one point you are enjoying with a mother who has just produced life, and at the other side there's someone who is grieving because they've lost their loved one, and this happens in splits of seconds, and you are the same person. So I think, to me, it's one of the things that you never taught in school, but when you come out,
taught in school.
Those are things you can't be taught in school because you experience people at their most vulnerable points, and you experience people when they're happiest. That family when they come to the ICU. In Kijabe, I used to work at the ICU, and after weeks and weeks. And then one time someone opens their eyes and they start to talk, and you can see the smile and the happiness in the family, and you have to be happy with them.
Wow. Great.
Yes, yeah.
So now let's fast forward and talk about the 5th of December.
Yes.
So 5th of December, you decide that you've had enough as doctors in the country, and you decide to go on strike. At that time, did you think that it's going to be a quick fix? Like all of us are out there, about 5,000 doctors. It's going to be a walkthrough, and in a few weeks we'll be back to work. Yeah,
one of the things I never thought is that it would take that long. Okay. And I think it's regrettable that it did actually take that long, because then that affected the country in ways that we would never imagine. But from 5th of December, what we thought is that 1 week, 2 weeks, this will be over,
Right.
So it never occurred to us that things would just take a turn, and what we thought was simple, just fix terms and conditions of work, just sign a document, have it registered, let's talk about its implementation. We never thought it would take that long.
And then it takes 100 days.
Then it takes 100 days.
And in the middle of that, of course, you have Kenyans suffering, and it's something that I've always wanted to ask you. At some point, did you feel like this is taking too long? We are on this is a great cause. We want the best for Kenyan citizens when it comes to healthcare. But at the same time, we're losing lives. At that time, nothing like that. You didn't feel some heaviness in your heart?
We did. One time, actually, KTN ran a story about, I think it was far-flung counties, either Kwale or...
It was Kwale, yes.
So they ran a story about a lady who was struggling to access dialysis. And I saw... I have to confess, I don't watch news much.
Wow.
But
we cover you all the time, but you don't watch news.
No, because I was negotiating in that midnight when you are running the news.
Okay.
I'm still locked
That's
up
an
somewhere.
interesting excuse, but anyway.
Then I watched this story, and I think for the first time I found myself shedding tears.
And she was crying. I remember the lady so well.
And it's so sad, And but you are caught up in these circumstances, and you ask yourself the question: we are on strike because of this lady. We are on strike because of this lady. If we ever went back, what would we tell her? Would we tell her that she will still suffer because we are now back at work, but we can't still offer this service because maybe the fluids for dialysis is not there, or machine now still keep traveling to Kenyatta when it can be done in Kwale, you know. So there, it's quite a mix of reactions. We feel equally sad. In fact, I did say that doctors understand patient suffering more than we imagine they do, because we interact with it on a daily basis. Right now, the strike is off. No one is talking about patient suffering, but doctors are seeing patient suffering right now, every single day. Yeah, but I think when doctors are out and then now it's being shown on television, then it becomes something grotesque for people.
All right.
Yeah.
And at some point, didn't you feel like, okay, maybe this has taken long, let's just call off the strike and just see what the government has to offer? Because you met the president.
Yes, we did.
In December,
Yes.
and that did not bear any fruit.
I think it did bear fruit.
Okay.
Yeah, it
a
did.
bit, because
it
after
did
that,
bear fruit. Not a bit. It did bear fruit a lot.
But remember, after that meeting, it still took about 60 more days.
Because there were
before...
inconsistencies in documentation. Yeah, there were inconsistencies in documentation. I think the president actually did show a lot of goodwill when we were in Mombasa. And there are a lot of things that we talked about. In fact, by the time we were ending the strike, even the things that he talked about were still not as documented as he did talk about them. So it did bear fruit. I think that is the one thing that has been very consequential. The president's intervention in this strike. It's the one thing that has been very consequential.
But he was very stern at some point.
He has been very stern.
He's been very stern, and at some point also threatened the doctors.
Yes.
All right, let's also talk about the time in jail. That was one of the moments, and you're all over the newspaper, the dailies, and everybody was saying this is historic.
Yes.
I want you to talk to me about that experience. How was it? Did you feel like, yes, this was bound to happen anyway? Were you ready for it?
We was from the beginning. We were set up to go to jail.
From the beginning?
From the beginning, because the Council of Governors went to court, and when they went to court, they are not even the ones that were part of the dispute. They are not even the ones we gave the strike notice in the first place. So they went to court, and we were never served with those court papers, and the way things were going on, you are declared guilty, even without ever being heard. In fact, this is, I think, is the first court case that people are declared guilty without ever being heard. And then you are always attending court, and I think that's part of what prolonged the strike, in my opinion. And that's part of what really infuriated doctors, because doctors were just looking for an opportunity to determine their own destiny. But then we have all these people interfering, So I think we were determined to go to court. It was a setup, and it was meant to be a punishment. We forgive those people, but we'll never forget it.
It was meant to be a punishment,
Yes.
But according to law,
Yes.
I mean, don't you think you were in contempt of court?
We were not in contempt of court. If you look at the case very well, the case was determined to make us be in contempt of court. We are very law-abiding citizens. So the prison wasn't nice. Prison is never nice.
Yes.
Yeah, and no one should ever wish it for your enemy. You should not. But
But you said at some point that you actually were happy that you're there because you're able to.
You see the other side of life.
Yeah.
Some of these things, if you don't see them, you just hear about them. And let me say the truth. I think there's a little bit of stigma on prisoners.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's true. But I think when you go into prison, then that stigma is off. Of course, there are a number of people who are in there because they need rehabilitation or they need correction. But there are also a number of people who probably are in there and they never broke any law. Yeah, I remember the justice system.
So it goes back to the justice system.
It goes back to the justice system.
Okay.
So prison isn't nice, but the life there is interesting. Prisoners have a lot of stories, and they tell it to you.
Everything.
Everything. I think by then there would be a lot of news for you if you went there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And at some point you also said that they were happy that you were there because they had not seen a doctor for such a long time.
Exactly. Yeah, so my 2 days I just spent
So are you
people.
visiting like the cells? How was it? Because for it didn't seem it was like it was like what they go through. It was a bit, a bit mellow.
Yeah, because they treated us well. The prisoners themselves, I think,
they treated
us,
you guys
They
well.
treated me particularly.
Yeah.
They treated me very well. it was very busy because they want to talk to you, they want to explain for you their stories, their circumstances, but they also want treatment. So most of the time I spent at the clinic and the hospital.
Treating?
Yeah, treating people,
Wow.
even the wardens.
Even the wardens?
Even the wardens. Even the prison wardens, because even themselves, they come and they were seeking treatment. And so I found myself very busy for those 2 days.
For the 2 days?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's now fast forward and talk about now, because this really, it's a story with so much interest.
Yes.
And right now you're waiting for the signing of the CBA.
Yes.
Can you say that what you agitated for the last 100 days, for the 100 days, you actually got? Because there are people who are saying that you really, at the end of the day, did not get what you had asked for in terms of salary, the salary rise and everything.
The truth is that we are not yet where we set out to be. That's the truth. But I think we are well on that journey to getting there. The CBA that we negotiated, that is about to be concluded, it's about just 37 days remaining, by the way.
Yes.
Has actually much more than what we set out in the CBA of 2013, from non-monetary and from those other issues of just improving patient life.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, much more. Yeah. So we negotiated for even better than we set out for.
But the money,
of course, in terms of the money, of course, we never got there. But you know, as you said, this is something that's incremental.
Do you think it's going to happen?
We think that
if it was 100 days and still nobody budged when it came to what you're asking for the salary.
There's a lot of goodwill now. There's a lot of goodwill. We want to bank on that goodwill. You note what the president has said even recently. Even ourselves, we do not want strikes.
Yes.
So I think we are going to bank on that goodwill to just make sure we close in on the issues that are remaining, including even a little bit of increments.
A little, you're still hoping
if possible.
Oh, and you're very clear that it's possible.
It's always possible. So those are things that we are going to do. But we are going to conclude this. The CBA will be registered soon, and then I think there will be a lot of peace in the health sector.
Before even the peace comes, there's that small issue about Tanzanian doctors.
Yes.
What about that?
The Tanzanian doctors.
Yes. Are they welcome?
Doctors are doctors all over the world. It's one profession with one oath, so we respect each other across the world. So we have no problem with our Tanzanian doctors. But I think the laws of the country itself, the Public Service Employment Guidelines, Immigration Act, talks about, first of all, if you are to bring foreigners, you must make sure that there is no local with the similar qualification who has been denied that opportunity. So the truth is that we have Kenyan doctors who have not yet been employed, and the other truth is that our hospitals are very understaffed. Yeah, we have about 1,400 doctors just in about 4 weeks coming out, and the shortage at the county and the national level is just overwhelming. Right. Kenyatta National Hospital, for example, has only 264 doctors. A hospital that should have at least 2,000 doctors, Kenyatta National Hospital alone. Yes. So I think there's a lot of room to employ our own doctors. But of course, also a few of our doctors went to court. Of course, the union was an interested party, and we got an injunction. So that was stopping it. So
you're safe for now.
We are safe. We are safe for now. Okay. We are safe for now.
All right. Yeah. So let's now see if you can read the news, because obviously you can, do a surgery, a cesarean section. Yes. With a mulika mwizi. And all right. So you have an eye problem, a small eye problem.
Yeah, I do. I think I'm short-sighted.
Short-sighted.
Yeah, I'm short-sighted.
I'm short-sighted too, so it's not a crime.
It's not a crime.
So we'll do things differently.
You don't put on specs. You go for
I have contact lenses.
Oh, you have contact lenses.
I think you should get them too.
Yeah.
All right. So you can see clearly. This has never happened. So you should be very, very grateful that we're making it a bit easy for you.
Okay. Thank you very much for making it easy for me.
All right.
I think it should just be tilted a little bit.
He should just tilt it. Okay.